It's that time again, time for today's Legal Minute with the Law Office of Cooley Schreier in Springfield. Today we're joined by attorney Susan Mielnikowski. Now, last week we learned what a trust was. How can we determine if someone needs a trust?
When I meet with clients to talk about their planning, I generally like to hear in plain words what their desires and goals are for their family and their future. When we talk through those issues, typically we find something that says, hey, maybe a trust is a good fit for this. Some very common examples of that. If you have young children and we look at your estate and say, geez, it doesn't make sense to let a 20-year-old inherit $500,000.
Exactly.
That's a recipe for disaster. Let's talk about, can we use a trust to delay the vesting until they reach a maturity age? Within that category, we also like to take advantage of the opportunity to potentially stretch out distributions. Rather than giving somebody a lump sum and risking that they would make a bad decision, maybe we give them a third when they reach a certain age and a third when they reach the next milestone. So delaying vesting.
And that's a good part about having a beneficiary too, because they can help making those tough decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's also important to look after people with special needs too.
Yes. If you have somebody in your family who you intend to benefit in the future and they have a special need that would potentially allow them to get public benefits, those benefits are oftentimes the structure for that person's life, and you don't want to interrupt the benefits by giving them assets.
That's true.
We set them aside into a special needs trust, and we make sure that trust can pay for what public assistance won't. Things like private caretakers, private massage therapy, vacations, electronic equipment. God knows we can't live without our gaming systems and our phones nowadays. Things like that they can't.
And that's a great point, though, because if people just got that in one lump sum, they might not qualify for some of the programs that are so important.
Exactly right.
Also, blended families is important.
Blended families. If you have children from a prior relationship and you're in a current marriage, there's a difficult conflict that happens, because if you give everything to your spouse after you're gone, there's no guarantee that spouse would benefit your prior children. So we use trust to hold assets so that you can have assets benefit your spouse, but whatever's left when they're gone will be designated for your prior children.
You can also save a little bit on your estate tax, is that right?
Less common in this day and age when we have our $5 million estate tax threshold federally, $5 million plus. But to the extent you do have an estate tax issue that you want to address, we use trust oftentimes to take advantage of all your credit shelters.
How can someone like me, if I have a meeting with you, how do I know if a trust is something that's best for me?
I'm usually able to identify it once I talk with somebody, although certainly in this day and age with people on the internet and reading newspapers and having a lot of information available to them, I oftentimes have clients come to me and say, I think I need this, and we just talk about it and figure it out.
It's a great point. Like they always say, when you think you're getting sick, don't look on the internet.
That's right.
To see how it can get better. Similarly, it might not be the best place to go for legal help.
Yep.
Thank you so much for stopping by today. You can talk to someone like this because she knows what she's talking about. And next week, the series continues on trust. We're going to tell you how to choose a trustee. And if you want more information on this or anything, just call 413-781-0750 or visit Cooley Schreier online at cooleyschreier.com.